Good to see everybody here. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll have the Lord's Prayer to open up with, and we'll have the pledge of allegiance. So let's all stand. Repeat together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes?
Here.
Commissioner Mosier?
Here.
Commissioner Richardson?
Here.
Commissioner Studs?
He's on his way. He's on his way. He got tied up. The minutes were in your packet. Hope you've had a chance to look those over. Is there a motion to accept?
Move to accept the minutes. Very good.
It's been made and second. Any discussions or corrections? If not, do I hear a motion to accept? Motion second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion does carry. The recorder has a report on distributions for the month of March. Jessica?
In the general fund, Excellent Enterprise, the police department cameras, $21,360. That's paid for by contract each year and budgeted. Cigna Insurance, health insurance for employee and employer portions, $52,487.17. On page 2, we paid a budget appropriation to Sweetwater Board of Education for $325,000. We also made several purchases for the train car during this month, $14,321.66 about a building supply. On page 3, you'll see the CD that we discussed in the workshop. We put $258,000 into a certificate deposit with Capstar Bank for, I believe, a 10-month term. Page 4, another train car expense, Sweetwater Machine Shop, $3,700. And towards the bottom, $700 to Shank Sandblasting for the work done on the fountain in front of the train car. All of that was with grant funding. Page 5, another train car purchase, East Tennessee Security Solutions for cameras inside and outside of the train car. And also $9,385 to Spectrum Electric, which was a train car expenditure, and all that was turned in for reimbursement through the grant program. In State Street A, we have a repair to dually tractor, $11,313.87. The drug fund, we had fencing placed at the impound lot, $11,928 to Loudoun County Fence. The tourism fund didn't have anything significant. The library report is in there. The home grant does not have any expenditures that month, and we probably have one more expenditure left to pay out. I think Trent Thompson is going to do the final work getting that. She's already moved into the house, so we've got her in the house, thank God. The only thing left to do is just kind of fix up the yard so that the drainage issues are not going to be a problem. And then that one will be closed out for, we had appropriated $60,000 towards that, and it'll end up coming in somewhere around 40, so less than what we had previously voted on. And then in the sanitation fund, we paid out $23,030.58 for garbage collection for Waste Connections of Tennessee. Any questions?
Richard has taken gravel up there. House. Looks pretty good, right? You been up there, John?
Yeah, it does. The gravel looks good. What Jessica's talking about is just a couple of layers of topsoil and some grass seed and straw to kind of finish it out, because the slope is, kind of deep for the house. So just kind of finishing it up so it's done nice and not, red mud everywhere.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the distributions?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. Motion does carry. We're happy tonight to have with us our state representative, Lowell Russell. Lowell is here for a special commemoration to our late Commissioner Buster West. So Lowell, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, members of the council. It's an honor to be able to present this to Connie and Janice. And if y'all would come up, I'll read you this proclamation. Occasionally, great individuals come before us and serve the public like Buster did, and it's extra special to present this proclamation in all the years of service he's given to Sweetwater. It says, whereas we are greatly saddened to learn of the passing of Billy Buster West of Sweetwater, born in Sweetwater on January 4th, 1934. Mr. West attended Sweetwater High School, where he was a member of the student council for football and baseball. Whereas it was during high school that he met the love of his life, Sarah Wyona Hicks, and the two were wed on August 6, 1951 together. They owned and operated Valley Electric and Plumbing Supply in Sweetwater for 40 years. Whereas prior to becoming a co-proprietor with his wife, Buster West worked at the Oak Ridge Complex for 11 years. He also served 11 years in the United States Army National Guard 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment. And whereas Mr. West was committed to the highest of public service, he was first elected to Sweetwater City Board in 1969 and served that body for 29 years in various capacities, including as Commissioner of Sweetwater Parks and Recreation, Commissioner of Sweetwater Fire Department, Streets Commissioner, and Vice Mayor. Buster West was a lifelong member of First United Methodist Church of Sweetwater, whereas he was also deeply devoted to his family and always endeavored to remain true to family values of the highest order. Whereas Mr. West leaves behind a legacy of integrity and probity in public life, compassion and loyalty in private life, and diligence and dedication in all his chosen endeavors. Whereas it's fitting that we should remember the life of this exceptional public servant and human being. Now therefore, Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 112th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, at the request of, in conjunction with Representative Lowell Russell, do hereby proclaim that we honor the memory of Billy G. Buster West, reflecting fondly upon his impeccable character and his commitment to living the examined life with courage and conviction. We express our sympathy and offer our condolences to the family of Mr. West. It's an honor to
This is a test. Which one do I look at? Sobriety check? Is that what this is?
You failed, Jen.
Look, my eyes were like.
Somebody told on you.
I'd just like to say, if I can, thank you all so much. I'd like to thank Representative Russell and thank all the city employees. Y'all have been wonderful. We wouldn't have got through it without you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you. Thank you, Lowell. I know you've got to be somewhere, so if you want to go ahead and leave.
Well, I got it cut off, so I'm going to stick around for a few minutes.
Okay, all right. Now we have a follow-up to report from our little princess of the tourism director. Our little Haley is here, and she's going to talk about Main Street Board, Main Street and the National Main Street Conference. I'm surprised I didn't have to go get her out of jail, but she made it good.
Wow. Well, thank you, Mayor. Yes, I know. So I finally got to go to a Main Street Conference, and it was wonderful. The highlight for me was getting to speak. Jessica and I got to talk about Sweetwater and the eclipse planning that we did, the challenges that we faced, the obstacles that we had to overcome, some of the things that we would do different if we were going to do it again. And I mean, it was a great experience. We got a lot of networking opportunities from that, got to make a lot of contacts with people all over the United States. And, you know, it was good to get to, around here, you know, we intermix and mingle with the people that, you know, we see on a daily basis. So it was good to get outside the box and see what people in other parts of the United States were doing in Main Street communities and get ideas from them. Josh went also, and then Heather behind me, she's going to talk in just a minute. This is Heather Carroll. And she and her husband own Remedies. Downtown, they've done great things with the business downtown. She's a board member for Main Street, so she's going to tell you what she got to do. But it was great for us, and we've made contacts with, you know, really good people that we're going to continue to keep in touch with. We've got people still emailing us about our presentation for the eclipse and asking for pointers, because there's another big one coming through in 2024, and there's a lot of communities that are small like us that are going to, you know, experience exactly what we did. So we loved it, and Heather, I'm going to let you talk about your experience and tell them what you learned. And thank you all for the opportunity to go. It was great, and I look forward to getting to do it again in the future.
So I was actually just super excited to be included because I love adventure and seeing new places, and I've never been to Boston before. Talk closer to the microphone. I said I was super excited to be included because I just love going to new places and visiting, you know, because you learn every time you go somewhere, just even on photo trips and whatnot. But I was super thankful that the girls let me tag along. I can tell you about how much fun we had, but that's probably not what you're really interested in hearing about. We did have an amazing time, but we learned so much. It was such a great opportunity to learn and very, very, very valuable experience. And the sessions were just really, really valuable. I can't stress enough how valuable it was to have not just these girls, but Josh in a session. We all went to different sessions so that we could just soak up as much as we could. But just to have like 4 different people in these, just as many different sessions as we could get to, because you know, it's one thing to read about something, and it's one thing to watch it on a session on your tablet or whatever, but to actually be there and be able to hear firsthand what other people are experiencing and what they're doing is just really makes it soak in and hit home a lot different. And then also being able to actually go into these other little small main streets that are around Boston and actually see what they're doing that's successful, that we're trying to get there, and to be able to go experience that firsthand was really incredible. And then in the evening we would all get back together in one spot and put our heads together and share ideas, and it was a great networking opportunity, like you girls said. And then just the learning experience was really incredible. We brought home a lot more knowledge than I even expected. And it just, even as a business owner on Main Street, like I'm not even on Main Street, you know, payroll or anything, but just what I learned for myself and other people that I can talk to here in town was worth my financial contribution. And so thank you for giving the opportunity for us to go be a part of that.
Heather, what were some of the sessions that you went to?
So my favorite session, hands down, was called Upstairs Downtown. There were some other sessions about finances. There were sessions about farmers markets and just anything you can think of that related to downtown. They had a session for it. They even had learning news, laptop skills and stuff like that, which probably would have been helpful for me since I'm not all that techie, but you can't go to all of them, you know. So my very favorite one was Upstairs Downtown because it was so much information about things that you can do with upstairs downtown that a lot of people are completely unaware of, and I think you and I need to talk about that a little bit later.
So are you saying that there's more square footage above the ground level in downtown? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
But I mean, there's so much stuff that even, like you and I have talked about upstairs downtown. There's stuff that neither one of you and I even was aware of that we can still grow here downtown would never have known
Sure.
had we not gone to the sessions.
That's cool.
So we need to have coffee or something about that.
Okay.
No kidding. And, but it's just like if other people have, other people have spaces that they'd love to do something with, but they don't know what they can do, or they don't know what's legal, or anything like that.
Sure.
And you're Mr. Architect over here, you can help them with a lot of that, but there's stuff that I learned there that I can, put you onto, that you can help them so much more with having this information.
I think the really cool thing about Main Street and how it has grown our city, but the potential that we still have here that you learn about from these other towns and other experiences. So thank you for telling me about that particular session, because that's just one session of X number of days, which grows the knowledge and potential exponentially in our city. So,
exactly, and there's just so much, there's a wealth of opportunity to learn more, because not only do we go to these sessions and learn while we're there, but they hand you, my pencil was burning, I was taking notes so fast, because they give you so many resources that you can continue learning about that stuff, even when you go home. And that was a 3.5-hour class. It was a lot of information, but some of them were shorter. But anyway, it was definitely very, very valuable and worth the financial contribution for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And thank you, Haley.
You're welcome.
Good job. Now we open the public hearing to take comments on two ordinances that we've got. The first is the ordinance to accept the furrow lots from the county. We talked about that in the workshop, where they're going to relinquish some lots they own and give it to the city of Sweetwater. Is anyone present here to make a comment on this? That's ordinance number 1019. The second is ordinance 1021 to reorder the ordinance to establish an administrative hearing officer. Anyone here to present or make a comment on that ordinance number 1021? The public hearing is now closed. In old business, we have a contract on the TDOT Railroad Improvement Grant that we've been working on for at least 2 years. We heard in the workshop that multiple quotes were received and the bids were in your packet. The TDOT consultant recommended hiring Volunteer Highway Supply for the low bid of $39,517. We also have Spectrum Electric. They will be doing the lighting portion of the project. We're really fortunate to have them here in Sweetwater, which they will forward a quote to us soon. This project is funded through TDOT grant, and the city's responsibility for the match is only 10%. Is the board ready to vote on the marketing and signage portion of the grant, or award the project to Spectrum? Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. And they should be starting on this real soon. Cody has had an accident, but he's getting back on his feet, so we've talked to him, and thankfully we can use him. We have final reading on ordinance number 1019 to accept furrow lots on second and final reading. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion, any comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Roll call vote, roll call vote.
Commissioner Hughes?
Aye.
Commissioner Mosier?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Stutz?
Aye.
Motion does carry. We have ordinance number 1021 regarding codification of the ordinance establishing a officer of administrative law judge on second and final reading.
I'll make a motion for approval of ordinance 1021 as submitted. Third.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Mosier.
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson.
Aye.
Commissioner Stats.
Aye.
Thank you. We failed to take a vote on the capital improvement plan last month. So is there a motion for the resolution to adopt the capital improvement plan for fiscal year ending 2024-2028?
Make a motion for approval.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. In new business, we have received bids for paving projects. And thankfully, we did get some bids in. So I'm gonna call a recess at this time. And Richard, let's meet you and Jessica meet just for a minute. If any of you all want to leave that are here, this would be a perfect opportunity for you to do that. We thank you for being here. And we're gonna take a short recess and we'll be right back.
Hey, John. John. You just want you to give her a microphone, man? I can't roll.
See, Janice.
I still don't know what it was.
That way.
Oh, if you got that argument, you got it.
See, Connie. Come on, Granny.
He's gonna break.
Come on, Granny.
Thank you all.
Pieces, all they need. What's going on, Scott? How are you? Good.
I started to say, when they raise it, you can return the favor.
Yeah. The lady.
Okay, we are back in order, and I'm gonna let Jessica go ahead and explain what we did. Jessica?
Okay, so we did allow bids to be submitted by email, which was publicly advertised that they could email them in. We had one bid received, it was from Rogers Group. If you're looking, I printed off a paving bid tab for you just to make it easier. The Rogers Group bid was $118,000 for Briarcliff, $37,500 for the section of Maple Street, which was from Price Street to Mesa Avenue. And then all three of the projects on Sweetwater Road added together, their patching, was $14,500. So that gave a lump sum total of $170,000 from Rogers Group. We had originally budgeted $250,000 in this area that we were gonna be able to access and use because we aren't gonna have time to get the equipment in we had budgeted for. So that does fit within the budget without having to do any amendments at this time.
And the thing about it is, we've got $250,000 budgeted, so we will be able to do other streets, and that's good. Some of our streets are just bad, and no reflection on anything. It's just simple fact through the winter and everything, things happen, and we are hopefully going to get most of the streets done that needs it now, especially from the railroad track, Von Orr Road out through there. And so that's good. Do I hear a motion we accept these bids?
So moved. Second. Question.
Okay.
So A&A didn't
They did not submit,
Okay.
They're too small.
they requested drafts, but I think when they saw the
Okay.
scope of the project, they decided not
I
to.
was just curious. Thank you.
They did come over and meet with us, but he told Richard and I that they were just too small to handle this. But I do have a motion. Is there a second?
There's
Motion
Second. Motion and second. Any more questions?
I don't know if I need to put a disclaimer or anything. There may be a chance that the company I work for would be doing some of this work with Rogers Group, as far as hauling asphalt and things like that, because we do work with Rogers Group quite often. So I think in the interest of the city and my job, I would recuse myself from doing it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. Thank you, and I'm sure Buster, if he was here, he would be doing this and he would thank you too. That's just, okay. Now we have first reading, okay, on our tennis court. We got,
Yeah, we got 3 bids this time on the tennis court. Those are already filled out. We did accept bids by email. They were all turned in before the bid deadline. The only one that technically complied with the bid specs was Advanced Athletic Services. Their bid was $31,980. They've given us a price for 60 days. The amount budgeted in the city budget was $35,000 for this project, so it is within budget. The other 2 didn't provide references. So technically, you could waive that, but they had a higher bid price anyway, so it would be a recommendation to go with Advanced Athletic Services.
what's your recommendation, Lamar?
Go with Vance. Vance is the one that did the tennis courts in Madison. Good reports back from that.
31,980.
Yes.
Okay. You want to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept that bid.
There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed likewise, motion carries. Now we have first reading on our budget ordinance. I'm going to let Jessica review the changes. Before we open the floor for discussion, we talked about this in the workshop. We've talked about it 2 or 3 times. We added some things to it. So Jessica, I'll turn it over to you.
So it's ordinance number 1020. In the actual ordinance section in the Word document, it lists a tax rate. That tax rate is the current tax rate, which is $1.38. Because this is a reappraisal year, we'll be receiving a certified tax rate from the state of Tennessee that will lower our tax rate, because I'm sure everybody realizes their house values went up during this evaluation, which most of them did. So we will be lowering our tax rate to offset what that increase was. If we needed to raise taxes, we would have to advertise it and do a whole additional step. Our budget does not call for a tax increase. So we will be lowering that tax rate to the certified tax rate, whatever the state calculates that at and sends it to us, so that their taxes don't actually go up and we get the same amount of revenue as we did last year, essentially. However, I don't know what that certified tax rate is yet. So on first reading, your budget still says a $1.38 tax rate. That will have to be amended before second and final reading. We usually get that certified tax rate in the middle of May. So probably before the June meeting, probably even before the May workshop, we'll have that tax rate, and we'll fix that in the actual budget Word document to match what that new rate is going to be. The second change in there, this pavement management system, I actually emailed this to you all after our long-range planning meeting. I emailed another copy of it Friday, so most of y'all have seen it. The mayor reviewed it with me last week. We have some folks here from Willow Creek concerned about the sidewalk situation with the trees that are pushing, their roots are pushing up sidewalks. What this system does, it's a $9,200 fee, it's a one-time fee, it is not an annual subscription. They will come in, they will drive every city street in Sweetwater, they will give it a grade that is color-coded, excellent, good, fair, critical, lost. Lost means you can't repave it, you have to dig it out and kind of start over on the road. So hopefully we don't have too many of those. But this will help us with budgeting, figure out when things need to be done and how quickly they need to be done and how severe the problem is, and how much we might have to do to it. They will also go ahead and measure every length, width of every street in Sweetwater. They will also incorporate sidewalks and signage into this same program for that same rate. So one, it's a huge source of data. It's a database that we have so that when citizens do call and say, hey, we've got a problem with this, or my street needs to be repaved, we can refer to this and figure out just how far gone that street is and when in the next 10 years, or whatever we might need to put that road in for repaving. We haven't really had a long-term pavement plan in the past. We've kind of just done it according to, do we have an STP fund that we can apply for a grant and do paving for this? It's probably time that we start to look at this. Just the additional traffic from some of the data Haley and I looked at last week. Our intersection down here at Main and Monroe has 4 times the traffic right now that it did 3 years ago. So we're gonna have to have a plan in place to figure out how we can budget for this kind of usage. So I would really recommend putting this in the budget. We are under budget in State Street Aid right now, so you could technically spend it before June 30th and not have to do a budget amendment. If you're interested in going ahead and getting them started on this project, we can. If we'd rather wait to see whoever the new street commissioner is gonna be and let them make that decision, we can, and, put it in the budget for next year. So, the only thing about starting it now is they might have the data in place and ready for the new commissioner to be able to use it. But I would recommend using it. I found them at the TML conference, so they are, pretty established in Tennessee, and there's some other cities that use them. We can, yeah.
Go ahead and start it.
Yeah, if you all would rather do this in this current year, we can just say that and it not be part of the discussion for the new budget.
What's your thoughts on it? I think it's a good idea.
I do too. I mean, I do as well, but I got questions. Based on that documentation, you said it's a one-time charge, right? So say we get all this data and we have areas that we fix. Once we fix those, will they update that information?
They will not, but we will own the data. So it will be in a spreadsheet format to where I can go in there and say repave 2024. You know what I mean, and make notes on it.
So basically, it's a living document that is created by this company that we can then use and manipulate, change, update, move it forward.
And of course, what they recommend is that say you do it now and they give you a 1, 3, and 5-year action and maintenance plan. That's part of the deliverables that they give along with the raw data for us to look at. They would recommend that every 5 years you hire them again to come back in and reassess. So that'll be up to us at that time to decide if we want to do that or if we've kept a good enough track of it.
So if it's in you said Excel?
They don't specifically say that. They use the word spreadsheet, so I don't know if it's Excel or just some other spreadsheet.
But say it's red, we fix it, it turns back to green. I know I'm getting into the nuts and bolts, but I mean, as far as a source of information to start from and to know what to do next, I think it's a phenomenal document. Obviously, the updating over time and the reassessment. Say in 3 years they come back, is it the full charge, or is it
I think they would redrive every street again and start from scratch. So I think it probably would still be a full charge all over again. And again, that's up to, it's not a contract, we're not locked into anything, it's up to us to decide whether, when, and how we want to hire them back again. I imagine they might have some kind of update tool, but.
Are they doing this anywhere close to us?
Closest place I could find, they're doing it some in the Nashville area, and they have some places in North Georgia. So I haven't seen anybody in East Tennessee that's using it yet. But they were at the TML conference this last fall, and that's how I came in contact with them. And I did do a demo with them. They sat down and did like an hour-long demo, kind of showing me how to manipulate the data and how you can sort it and all those things. I think it probably is.
Well, it's good for preventative maintenance on the streets.
Well,
So you got an idea of what you're looking at and how far you can go.
and for my budget mind, this would be super helpful.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like an incredible piece of data, information mapping that we don't have now.
Especially with the commissioner coming in. And I think it'd be valuable to us. Do we want to do this separate, included, or go ahead and get this started tonight and vote on the first step?
When we get it started,
I was going to say, if we have money available in State Street and we can get it started, I think it'd be advantageous to.
Okay, I'll accept the motion.
But basically, I'll make a motion to use State Street and get them started now.
Okay. Second. Motion made and second. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed likewise. That's it. Get started.
Okay, good. And then the only other thing I have that was a change to the budget is the tourism data. Haley talked to Sam about this last week. Again, this is a source of data. This one is more expensive. It was priced at $16,000, and then as long as we don't use a certain one-on-one person, they lowered the price to $13,000. So $13,000 would be the price. We can take it out of the tourism fund using hotel motel tax funds.
So what is this for?
So what this data does is that's how we found out what our traffic count was down here at the intersection. So Mayor, your favorite part, and here's the thing, they're gonna do a demo for us on May 15th. So May 15th at 4 o'clock before the planning commission meeting, the guy will do a demo on the computer that anybody can come into my office and see exactly what it does. And I think that'll help you understand it a little more. We learned about this at the Main Street Conference. They called and followed up and did a demo for us last week. They have a crime section where you can look at crimes committed in a certain area. You can look at the potential for traffic accidents based on how much traffic is in certain areas. The thing that you will love the most is if I key in an address, say 105 North Main Street is the address we used, which is kind of right in front of Sam's building. So that property, it told us that 1% of people who drive to Sweetwater to that address, on the way there stop at stop at Rural King, and on the way home stop at Rural King. 15% of people stop at that location address on their way to Sweetwater Hospital. We learned that we have $89 million a year retail leakage going to the Madisonville Walmart instead of the Sweetwater Walmart from people whose home cell phone is here in Sweetwater. So, and that's just tip of the iceberg. That is just some of the data that you have from this. It's a little scary to know all the information that people have on this. They started this in 2017, so this program actually goes back to 2017 and measures forward. So I can compare a business, the Walmart in Sweetwater, how many more people went into that building in 2023 than in 2017? Or how many people, would you believe that 4 million cell phones passed through this intersection at Monroe Street and Main Street last year? 4 million. And it was 313,000 individual unique cell phones. So probably 313,000 adults, because a lot of children don't have cell phones. It also told us at Halloween we had 20,000 cell phones in the downtown area inside a geofence that we could create. So this is kind of the program that the county has been using. We don't get access to that data very quickly. We didn't find out about Halloween until like January. This guy ran reports for last Saturday and showed us the data on Tuesday. So it's much quicker, much more available data. It would be very good for retail recruiting. It'd be good to show industries, what kind of things are growing in our area. It'd be good for employment. There's a lot of different uses of it. I cannot adequately pitch it to you all. That's why I asked him to come back on May 15th and do a demo. I think if you all see the demo, it'll help you understand it a little more. That is in the tourism fund budget right now as it is. So, and we still are balanced. It's not having to dip into fund balance at all in that fund. But
13,000. Is that yearly?
it's each year. And the thing is, you're only committing to 1 year, so if we don't use it enough after 1 year, or if we don't need it, or we're just like, hey, we'll just pay for it once every 5 years, we can do that too, but.
The conversation that Haley and I had is based on the information possibility and how many avenues we can use this. We want to at least give it a 1 year trial run and kind of come back after that. And we've got it in the budget already. It's balanced, so we would really like y'all's help and support in going forward with this, at least 1 year.
What time is it?
It's at 4 o'clock on May 15th. I'm looking at Haley because I have too many dates in my head right now. 4 o'clock, May 15th.
Yeah.
And there's a planning commission meeting at 5, so we wanted to do it when some of y'all already had to be here. So, and those are the only 3 changes since the workshop. I think I'd emailed all of that to you all anyway, so hopefully you've had a minute to look at it, but we are ready for first reading whenever you all are.
Anybody got any problem with first reading? Okay, we're ready to go. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Mosier.
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson.
Aye.
Commissioner Stats.
Okay, motion does carry. We have, also have a ordinance number 1022 to amend the beer code. John, you wanna review that?
It became apparent recently that the distance requirements between a new beer permit can be granted, and where we actually have them because of the growth of the number of establishments that sell alcoholic beverages, beer in our town, that right now we're looking at 300 feet and 500 feet for different kinds of establishments. The corner, if there was a building on the lot here where Right Hardware was, it would be 200 feet, which is way closer. If they're Vitorino's, which has a beer permit, is only 196 feet from the front door of the police department, and Hunter's Cafe is only 96 feet from the park where the train car is and the fountain. So what we have proposed by this amendment is to reduce all of those straight out to 100 feet and to eliminate the distance requirement for city property, because we've got parks everywhere, and there's really very few places that there would be new beer permits within that distance anyway.
One other thing that we noticed this would affect is if the community center became a city-owned property, that nobody could use any of the buildings around it to have a microbrewery, and there has been someone ask about putting a microbrewery in that building adjacent, so that, if we keep the distance as it is, they could not do that. So I'm not quite sure why anybody cares if there's alcohol within 100 feet of City Hall. Other than me, I would probably be much more grateful for it. But this would remove city property as a thing at all. It keeps the distance requirement for schools.
Schools, churches.
And churches, which I think tend to be the bigger concern, but.
Just city property, affect city property. Okay, is there a motion to amend
Make the
to
motion.
50 feet? Or 100 feet?
I'll move to make the amendment.
Second.
Any more discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Mosier.
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson.
Aye.
Commissioner Stats.
Motion does carry. Finally, we will discuss at the workshop a high mass lighting grant project for exit 62. Jessica drafted a letter. It's in your packet. Is there a motion to authorize me to sign and apply for this project? And maybe Brother Russell, our state representative, can help us on that over there when we apply for that grant. It don't hurt to have friends in high places. Okay. Make a motion that I sign the letter for high mass lighting.
I make a motion to authorize you to sign that letter.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion does carry. Here's a reminder, Representative Chuck Fleshman will be here at 2:30 tomorrow to see the train car project, and Representative Russell Lowell, you can come over and join him if you would like to. Everyone else will be here Friday at 2 p.m. to dedicate and tour the train car. Is it ready to go?
It's ready to go, thanks to those guys.
Yeah. Who you call it, those guys?
Well, Joe Lynn, Richard's guys, David Moses is on vacation this week.
And don't forget JR now.
JR redid the seats. We're gonna recognize all of them on Friday, but they did great work with a very complicated project.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate what you do. And then our our Blooms, Bluegrass, and Barbecue starts Friday. What time does that start?
Starts at 12 on Friday, and then goes to 8, and then 10 to 8 on Saturday. The carnival will be going Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Now, the carnival's gonna be,
All the time.
Behind Coquina.
gonna be over there in the parking lot, Paul Red's parking lot, for those of you that remember that. All right. Anything else need to come before the commission? Thank you for being here. Thank you all again for coming over, and we are adjourned.